but I'm so frustrated. Hello to my loneliness. I guess that ignorance is bliss. Take me back to before the new.
All righty. Welcome back, everybody. I hope that y'all have had an amazing month? Has it been a month since we've been together?
A month, baby.
Well, I hope that y'all had an amazing month. I'm excited about what we're going to talk about, but before we even jump into it, we're just gonna just kind of give a brief introduction of ourselves. And so I guess I'll go first, Didi. My name is Brianna Latrice. I call myself an affair recovery coach. I coach women who have been cheated on, helping them remove the shame of their decision to leave or stay, because I believe that both decisions will be hard. And I am here to help you navigate your hard. And if you're not familiar with me, just know that my passion work behind life after infidelity came from my personal experience of being cheated on multiple times in my marriage. And so now I like to look at it as like my give back to the world is to help other women learn how to first rebuild that trust within themselves so that they can move on and move out of unhealthy relationships. So, yeah, that's me.
Nice introduction. So great to spend my Saturday afternoon with you. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy New Year, all that. I know we'll drop after the holidays, but it's so fun to say it as many times as possible. So my name's Didi
Yeah.
Fisher, and I am a communication consultant. I have a degree in mass comm. And when I, just like Brianna, went through extreme infidelity, betrayal, I decided I wanted to give back. So I took everything I knew from communication and I started coaching under Betrayal Trauma Coach. And you can find me on Instagram under that. And what I did is take my tools of communication to help people talk through or stop the talking about what was happening. Just like stop the crazy talking. And I have found in being able to share that with other women that it gives back to me to be able to feel stronger, more satisfied, more supported as a survivor by my clients. So we both feel supported as survivors of betrayal trauma.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, if you haven't kind of heard kind of the story, but me and Didi connected probably about like maybe I want to say like a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then we just kind of clicked from, that first time, and we both, you'll notice, that we both have different styles, and I think it just kind of works together, and it's a great balance. And some of our things that we're really going to be honing in on whenever you see us together is going to be those hot topics of gaslighting and narcissist. And so I'm gonna let you start us out, Didi, just about like the topic that we're gonna talk about, because I think it's fun. I'm excited about it.
And what would you say that topic is? Because I would say that it all falls under how not to respond to the narcissist attacks.
Yep. Yep. Because that's what I told you. I was one of the groups that I'm in, support groups for infidelity recovery. A gentleman posed the question, and he was just like, man, how many of you all have noticed that your narcissistic partners kind of get you out of character? And he thought it was like out of the ordinary, like he didn't realize that that's something that's kind of common. And I was like, and it's funny. And maybe we can even go through some of the comments, because I actually just reposted that on my page, and man, the comments went crazy off of that. And
Oh yeah, so
so
this
let's
is
talk
the
about it.
thing. Yeah, let's
Yeah.
talk about it. So how I deal with that when I'm working with my clients under BTC, Betrayal Trauma Coach, is that a narcissist's goal is to control the narrative.
Hmm.
So and how I use that is by using my communication degree. So in PR, you'll hear companies come out and say, I did not dump that water. I did not pollute that water, right? I did not dump that chemical in that water. I did not do this. I did not do that. Well, a narcissist has the same kind of narrative about the partner that they actually are trying to control through narrative.
Hmm.
So the same way you can control that is by not responding. But the problem is you get worn down, just like the gentleman in the post, like thinking that that was just him. No, that is the goal. The goal is to wear you down, wear you down, wear you down until you actually say or be who they're saying you are.
Mhm.
And maybe
Mhm.
you have been that in relationship with them, but your authentic self wouldn't be that with a normal communicator, right? Because narcissism and gaslighting is a whole type of communication unto itself.
Mhm. Because when you were thinking about that, and I'm even thinking about the comments that people were leaving, and I think I was like, let's talk about it, like share your thoughts or share your experiences. And so many people were talking about like, man, I'm embarrassed to like share how they got me out of character. Some people were like, I was almost going to jail behind them and things like that. And I don't even know like what's the premise behind narcissists like trying to get a response out of you when
Well,
they see
because
you're
then
not responding.
when if you're out of control, they're in control,
Ooh, I
right?
like that.
Just
Yeah.
as a dialogue, right? And so
Mhm,
my expertise is in communication. If you can get somebody arguing your crazy point, they're
mhm,
no longer on their authentic path. There was a great example of this, and no, I don't like to be political, but I did see this on the Republican debate
mhm,
when Swamy attacked Nikki. She very
mhm.
clearly, simply said, "I will not comment." Like she did not allow him to pull her out of her authentic self.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's such a perfect response. You
Mhm,
can say, I will not comment. I'm sorry you're feeling that way.
mhm,
I'm sorry that's your experience,
mhm,
right?
mhm.
I, that whole I statement, right? Because then you're in power. But the
Yeah,
minute you try to defend or attempt to defend yourself against their narcissistic claims about you, the only
yeah.
way you can do that is by using a you statement. You're
Mhm.
not right. You made that up. You're lying. Now, the minute you do that, you're out of your authentic self in their world.
Yeah,
And that's why
yeah,
you'll see a lot of people in the media will say, I'm not commenting. I'm not commenting. I'm not commenting. Because that's not the
yeah.
track they're on. Right.
Mhm,
And it's
mhm.
only in extreme circumstances where people are actually proven to be doing the thing that somebody's claiming they did, where they actually finally come out and say, okay, I did do that.
Yeah,
Right. So
yeah.
that's an extreme world example of how that communication tool can work. But in a personal realm, when somebody's attacking you, there's no media out there. There's nobody going to take record of it. But you know when you're not being your authentic self and you let that person win. And so one
Mhm.
of the things I like to say is they're assaulting you verbally. And
Mm.
maybe a funny way to remember that you don't want to engage is to remember the first three letters in assault is ASS. And so they are that ASS, you are not.
Yeah,
And so just let
yeah.
them be that.
Yeah. 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 So it sounds like what I took from what you just said, because that's really good. I've never heard it said that way though. But it's like really what they're doing too is like they're trying to deviate from the truth that like you're wanting to address or something like that. And so then they just try to do something to get you out of character or get you to respond in a particular type of way.
Right. Because the minute they have you defending yourself, they're winning. And I
Mm.
actually think in like the situation like you and I went through, and like people that we both through went through, the really hard part about this is we have to let go of our egos and admit that we were wrong about that person.
Really?
Yeah. So like you got to go, you know what? You got to just be so compassionate with yourself and go, I was wrong. I thought you were somebody you weren't. And you are not that person that somewhere in my mind I still have you as. And
Mm-hmm.
so you are not worthy of me engaging in these ludicrous conversations with.
That's the thing though, because okay, I be all over the place. Like I be knowing what I want to talk on, but
Tell
it's
me, it's so hard.
because the thing is, it's like, you know how you're like you're no longer like giving in to their tactics, right? So then
Right.
what they do is they take it up another level because they're seeking a response out of you.
Yes.
And that's the thing of like when you're trying to get away, how do you navigate that? And I'm gonna let you think on that because I'm excited, Didi, because we have our very first sponsor ad, and I'm just gonna talk a little bit about this amazing company. And it's just that, did you know that consistent self-care is pivotal to healing from infidelity trauma? Yes, self care is no longer optional after betrayal. Tell me if this sounds familiar. You are pouring all of your energy into everyone else. You are suffering from betrayal trauma symptoms and are short tempered and burnt out. Everything feels overwhelming and chaotic. You have no energy or time to shop and plan self care into your daily life. That's how many women are struggling right now. This is where the Heartbreak Box, a monthly self care subscription, comes to you. They ship luxury, curated, self nourishing items and gifts to your door every month. There are 3 plans to choose from. In addition to the box, they also offer an exclusive member portal with supportive resources, insightful guides, and journal prompts to help you navigate betrayal trauma. Their premium subscription includes a monthly planner that's specifically tailored to help betrayal survivors reduce mental load, give encouragement, and create order and organization. Embrace the luxury and care you truly deserve with the Heartbreak Box. Secure your subscription before the 15th of each month to get the upcoming box. Spaces are limited, yours is waiting. Visit heartbreakbox.com today. And I just want to say, I have gotten my subscription for the past 2 months, and those boxes are amazing. So I just want to challenge you women to definitely like learn how to love on yourselves. And yeah, go check out the Heartbreak Box. And you can also find them on Instagram at the Heartbreak Box as well.
That is so great. I love that. That is the best idea because you'll be in so much trauma and so much overwhelm and taking care of you and the kids and other people and attempting to, play racquetball or tennis with this narcissist, right? With your betrayer
Uh-huh.
and taking care of you. It isn't until the TV's off, the kids are in bed, work is done that you're like, oh yeah, what about me?
Yeah.
So having that box right there, you just go to it and it's like, ooh, what's my treat today? Right? I love that.
Yes.
That is such a great
Yes, just
idea.
shipped to your door, and you don't even have to think about it. So yes, everybody go out and get your Heartbreak Box for sure.
That
But
is a
yeah,
great
Didi, so
opportunity.
back to what we were talking about, because that question of I think a lot of people get caught up in this too, of like they're trying to leave, and we're starting to like not feed into their behaviors to get an arousal, but then they turn it up a notch because they know what to do to entice us. They know what to say to trigger us. And so, like, how do we, people who are actually trying to get out of those toxic relationships, but those narcissistic partners keep pulling them back in? They send lies to your closest family and friends and try to deceive them to make it look like you're the bad person. Like, how do you navigate that?
Are you asking me personally or the advice I give or both? It's one and the same.
Hey, whatever
So
you want to give, whatever your heart, whatever you think the people need. Let's say that, because they're in
I
it
go,
right now.
yeah, you have to go no communication.
Mm. What about with children? That makes
And
it hard.
well, they can go get in the car and they can come back. And my rule is everything in writing.
Yeah.
Because here's the deal, if everything in writing, the next time somebody, one of those people that they're trying to manipulate onto the, let's call it their side,
Uh
says
huh.
something to you, all you have to do is say, well, wait just a minute, let me have your email. And then you just email that document. I don't want to talk about it, but here, you're free to actually read what happens and
Yeah.
decide for yourself, right? But the minute you have it all in writing, you can take yourself out of it,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then in that
Mm-hmm.
writing, you have to make sure that you're just staying on point and on topic. Yes, you can
Yeah.
pick up the kids. Thank you for the child support. No, I don't agree with you. I prefer not to talk about that. And pretend as if, right? Imagine when you're writing to this person by email or text that other people are going to see it
Yeah.
or your children are going to see it.
Yeah.
What do you want them to see? That was the trick I used
Mm-hmm.
with myself. And I can say it
Mm-hmm.
worked really well. And I went as
Mm-hmm.
far as actually requesting the lawyers let him know that my communication had to be by email only.
Okay. Okay.
And I have people who have thanked me for doing that, because
Mm-hmm.
the when the PR, was on to make me look bad, what I could do, they knew they could come to me and just say, what really happened? Do you have it in writing? 100%. Let me just send that to you.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm not even
Mm-hmm.
in conversation. There's no like he said, she said stuff going on. Just like, here it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you know, like, are you familiar with the apps that are out there too? Because I just realized that there are apps like that now.
No, like what? Telegraph or something like that?
Like what you're saying, when you're dealing with partners like that are very narcissistic. So like if it's like, you're going through a divorce or something, like you can just go, there's just a port, like an app, and that's where all the communication goes through. So then like if anything happens and you have to take it to court, the lawyers can just kind of pull the transcripts from that app. And I was like, man, the fact that people have created apps lets me know there's some
This is
people out here that
real.
are super toxic.
Yeah, this is real. No, that isn't a great app. I think that is amazing. We
Yeah.
should definitely let people know about that, because it's much
Yeah,
easier
I gotta
than
figure out the name of it, but I was talking to somebody, and I think that they actually use the app with their partner that they're divorced from. And I was
nice.
like,
So
dang, that's crazy.
what I've done, or what I suggest clients do, is always email at the end of your day. Make sure it's from your laptop, and then create a file. So that if you
Okay.
have to send it to a lawyer, then you just have the little file in your mail server, right? Called
Mhm,
X. And then all that
mhm,
stuff is in there. And then
mhm,
that box can easily be searched. If so and such topic comes up, you just go to the search bar and find it. And then you don't have to send your lawyer the whole file so that he
mhm,
charges you a lot. You just send that one email. No, actually, this is
mhm.
what happened.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You
But
know, and
having an app is so amazing. I didn't know that that existed.
yeah, that app, yeah, would be great. But essentially, it's like even what you're saying, like of the emails, and something I want to talk about that I think is going to be a great tool for people who are listening to this episode is how to navigate it like with their loved ones and stuff, because we've already talked about that, how like the narcissist will try to taint your image to your family, to your friends and things like that. And like even for counselors, like with counselors we talk about that too, of like, okay, if you're working with somebody who appears to be a narcissist, like you said, having things in writing, um if the narcissistic partner shows up before the other person shows up to therapy, because they will do that. They will try to show up to therapy first, so they'll reach out to the therapist and try to make that person look crazy. But you never, as like anybody. So like what I'm saying is, like, if there's a third party that your narcissistic partner is reaching out to, um they need to be able to first hear both sides, but at least having it for us therapists, like that person has to be there. Like all parties have to be present before the communication starts. But
Exactly.
when we talk about what you said of cutting off that communication, this emailing system is another way around that. And so I know you've kind of had experience with that, of like, how do you do that with your family and friends, just in case they're trying to make you out to be crazy to your loved ones?
Yeah, I actually send the emails.
Like you forward the emails?
Absolutely.
Oh,
Or
wow.
or cut and paste the text or whatever it is. Oh yeah. I am not
Okay.
I have a really hard boundary. I am not having that conversation. Like, I'm
Yeah.
not playing the he said, she said game.
Mhm. Mhm.
And how many times have you seen the Instagram post that says what other people think or feel or say about you is not actually your business,
Yeah. That's
right?
true.
You cannot go change the world. You
Mhm.
cannot pick up
Mhm.
the phone and call everybody. And for me, this is what I think. If somebody knows, like, so if people know why you, Brianna, got divorced,
Mhm.
and they want to still believe in that person, your ex,
Mhm.
well, that's shame on them. Like,
Mm.
they know that that person is capable of extreme lying, and then they want to be in a relationship with somebody who does extreme lying.
Yeah.
That's on them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then my other thought is like, how powerful are you if people are talking about you? I'm not even there.
That's true.
I'm the center of topic. I must be some kind of powerful,
That's true.
right?
That's very
Like, how
true.
powerful am I? I made you do that. I made you do that.
Mhm,
No, here's the
mhm,
deal. How weak are
mhm.
you that you couldn't do whatever it is you wanted to change your life? That you
Yeah.
have to lie, cheat, steal, betray, whatever it was, and then blame it on somebody else. That's just weak.
You know I hate when you do that.
What?
It's just weak when you tell the truth.
It does wait. I can't do it any other way. Bill Clinton did not get on TV and say Hillary made me do it. It was Hillary's fault. She made me. No, it got right down to it. I had sex with that woman. Done. Right? Why? Because he had
Accountability.
a really great PR team. No. Even if he said or felt or thought that, no. Nobody buying that. Right? So and so
Yeah,
made me do it. Please.
yeah.
Right?
But you know what? So something that you make me think too is another thing though is that they are so deceptive. And so part of the reason why some people will choose to believe my ex over me is because he deceives people into making them think that he's actually this kind and compassionate person. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
so even in that lens of like, how do you even get around that, or what do you do? Because do they? Well, let me ask this question: do they really care what other people think about them, which is why they put on that facade that they're like this amazing person, but behind doors they're monsters to people that are closest to them?
Well, in my opinion, um, anybody who can't be straight up honest about who they actually are in life is actually very insecure.
I would agree.
That's my personal belief. Like, if
I
you
would agree.
can't just stand up in a room and say, "This is who I am. This is what I'm doing. This is what I've done. This is who I am," that's on you. That's on that person. Like the insecurity. But
Mm-hmm.
we don't. In the world, we don't go out and talk about this. We don't
Yeah.
say or teach our kids. People who
Mm-hmm.
blame other people for their behavior are manipulating you, and they
Mm-hmm.
are insecure.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right? And
Mm-hmm.
so,
Yep.
believing that karma comes around just might not be in the timeline you want it, that
Yeah.
people don't change. So people who stay in relationship with, say, your ex will
Mm-hmm.
find out eventually
Mm-hmm.
because people don't change.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's really hard to change. You got to be hugely committed to it.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think one of the hardest things in the world is to not care what other people are saying about you.
It is hard. It's
Woo!
it's very hard. It's funny because like, but you have to get there. Like, you have to get to a space where you don't care what people say, because I guess I think of a story of like when I started to come out about life after infidelity. I was really, it took me a while to come out because I was like, well, I don't want my ex to, I don't know what he's going to say. I don't know what his family's going to say. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't
Yeah.
know. And then one of my friends who's a therapist, she was like, oh, okay, so you're holding back on your dreams because of your partner. And so you're still letting him control you, even though y'all not married. And then
Got
I was
that.
like, really? That's how you do it?
That's
But you're
deep.
right. Like, we have to get out of that space of not caring what other people, especially when we're dealing with people who are manipulative and things like that.
Right. You are only responsible for yourself. Be kind, be
Mhm,
compassionate, be in integrity, do no harm. There's a saying
mhm,
from AA, do no harm, but take no shit. And one of my girlfriends gave me like that in an 8.5 by 11, when I was going through my betrayal.
uh-huh,
And she's like,
uh-huh.
look, this is the deal. You can, take no shit, but be really strong. But
Yeah,
I promise you, I hit my knees and ask God to just take it, right? Like, just
yeah,
take it. I cannot carry this. This is too
yeah,
big. Just give me the
mhm,
strength to not respond to this.
yeah,
Because you want to pick up your phone and be like,
all the time. And
and
especially when they
it
hit that
comes
text
around.
message.
No,
Yeah.
it will happen. People will come to you and go, "Why are you doing this?" And then
Mhm.
you could just, and that happened to me, and I could just be like, I didn't do that.
Yeah.
And do you know why I got divorced?
Mhm.
And then they were like, well, they said this. And I said, well, that's actually not the truth. Here's the truth.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it wasn't, I didn't go looking for it. I was
Mhm.
simply asked. But when
Mhm.
that moment appears, you got to be sure that it's an I statement. You don't do what they've been doing, right? And blame them. You just simply
Yeah.
say, this is what happened. And this is the choice I made. I chose to stay. I chose to leave. I chose to get separated.
Yep.
I'm choosing divorce, and be solid in your situation,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it's
You
hard.
said, okay, it is hard, and that's why
It's
I want you to
really, it's a
kinda
muscle.
elaborate on this. I want you to elaborate on that statement that you made. Do no harm, but take no shit. Like, how do you actually do that?
Well, I believe for me what's worked is the written communication and the I statements.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
when I'm asked directly for something that I
Yeah.
don't have in writing or can't contribute in writing, that I talk about me,
Mhm. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
The, it's just simple. The betrayal was too much and I chose divorce. There's really nothing to say, right? There's no more to say. That's it, right?
Yes. 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 I'm like, I don't know if you saw me, but I'm like, I love that. And I think that's so great. Like, that's what's so dope about you and I is because sometimes I'm always like, well, I just feel and I just wanna, and then you're like, nah, scratch that. It's just facts, 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 facts.
Well,
But that's how you have to handle people like that though.
yeah, well, it's not something women are taught.
That's true.
Direct, concise, bottom line communication.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna tell a
Mm-hmm.
story about my dad. I love my dad so much. So I worked for my
Mm-hmm.
dad as a kid in his gas station, and I was working behind the
Okay.
register when I was in high school. I work a 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. shift every day during the summer, right? Then I go play with my friends. So this guy from California comes in to pay for his gas, and there's a 4 cents off per discount if he pays cash. So he slides me a 20. And I
Mm-hmm.
say, oh, well, it's this much. And he says, which was less than what the pump read. And I said, well, yeah, because you get 4 cents off per gallon. And he wanted to argue with me. Are you ready for this? Argue with me and pay more money. So about that, I mean, it makes no sense, right? Like
Yeah.
he even started in with you stupid country girl, right? Because I grew up in the middle of Idaho. My dad happened to walk into the convenience store about that time, just walked around and just tapped me on the shoulder. And then I just took the guy's money because I knew what that meant. That meant just take his money. So I took his money, I put it away. And he actually said to me, you ain't never going to see him again. What do you care what he thinks?
Mm.
And it has always stuck with me, right?
Yeah.
That like,
Yeah.
even like, okay, you want to pay me more money to be right. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's an
Mm-hmm.
extreme example, but in that moment, it was like, what do you care?
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
you can't change what he's thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I do say I tell people everything I learned about communication I learned in a gas station. I mean, I say that a lot, right? I do. But there was some stuff I learned. It's deep, right? But that
Yeah.
lesson was tough. And then I really watched in life, especially going through betrayal. I'm like, I, I cannot fix that. I cannot
Yeah.
change that, right? What do they say? What do they say? Didn't cure it, didn't cause it. Can't cure it, didn't cause it, didn't create it.
Oh, okay. I've never heard that one before.
That comes from AA, the 3 C's.
Okay. Okay. Gotcha. Say it
Called the
again.
3 C's. I didn't cause this, I didn't create it, and I can't cure it.
Mm. Yeah. You can't cure it. And that's what I was thinking too. Like, sometimes people might ask, I don't know if you ever got this question, but it's like, okay, well, how do you communicate with a narcissistic partner? And the answer is you can't.
Exactly.
You'll never be able to. And so it's like going back to what you're saying, keep it factual, keep it concise. And like that's kind of what I what I get from what you were saying with your dad of like, girl, you can't even argue with him. If he want to pay you more, take it and
Take the money.
go.
Yeah.
Because yeah, like it's not worth it to get you all riled up. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like you can't. And I think that that's something that I want listeners to really understand is that if you think that you are dealing with someone who, who is a narcissist, shall I say, and you're trying to figure out ways to communicate with them, you can't.
No, you
Like,
can't.
there's no way. You just keep it clear, concise, and factual,
Yeah,
honestly.
and only to the things that you legally have to communicate about.
Mhm. Mhm.
Money, kids, division of assets, whatever it is,
Mhm.
whatever your situation is, if it's separation,
Mhm.
if it's divorce, if it's a timeout, like whatever you've created, right? There's going to
Yeah.
be things that you got to do adulting on, right? You still have
Yeah.
to do adulting. Keep
Mhm.
it in writing, keep it simple, nothing more.
Mhm. And Didi, something I want to ask you that you said too was like, people who kind of behave this way are actually insecure in themselves, which I completely agree. And maybe we can talk about that like in another episode. But my question to you is, even for the victim, do you think that the victim also has insecurities, which is why they're allowing that type of treatment from their partner?
Well, it could be a lot of things. I mean, I did a lot of intensive therapy and learned a lot of things. It can be from a learned behavior from past relationships, whether that's, family, friends, other lovers, whatever it is, right?
Mhm.
Girlfriends, boyfriends, whatever. So it's a learned behavior,
Mhm.
right? That when this certain thing comes at you, you don't say anything,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Or you argue it or you defend yourself, right?
Yep. Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
then I don't know so much if it's an insecurity or if it's just a learned behavior,
Gotcha. Yeah.
right? But if
Mhm.
there is an insecurity, typically people can see it and they tap into it.
Yep. And that's where, that's kind of where I am with that. Is it's like, definitely it could be a learned behavior, but and then like you said too, there if there's something underlying there, people will tap into that. And I asked you that because I have a client now that I'm working with, and I was explaining to her, I was like, people we allow people to treat us one step lower than we treat ourselves. And so, and the reality is, if we have insecurities that like we're saying consciously or subconsciously, like however we feel internally about ourselves, we're going to allow people to treat us one step lesser than that. And so, like, as we were going through our coaching sessions, through a series of questions, because I already knew what, kind of like some of her underlying issues, but I needed her to say them. And,
Sure.
she
Magic
finally
thinking.
confessed probably like after our third or fourth session, because she was a tough one to break. And, I know you probably experienced that too, where you just have some clients where it's like, Lord, help me get through this because this is a tough one. But she finally, like in our third or fourth session, she finally voiced it out, and she was like, okay, I'm insecure. She was like, I've never really he's my husband is my first real serious relationship, the first man that ever showed me any attention. Not a lot of men and guys liked me when I was younger. So, you know what I'm saying? And then I was like, and then he fed off of that because he knew that, and he knows that you're not going anywhere because you have these insecurities, or you have this unhealthy attachment style that's connected to him. And so, it's but basically at the end of the day, I was just telling her too of like, you have to learn how to love yourself so much that anybody else that comes into your life moving forward, it's a bonus. Like when a man tells you that you're beautiful, it's a bonus because you tell yourself you're beautiful every day. If somebody tells you, man, I think that you're a great woman, well, it's a bonus because you know that you're beautiful because you tell yourself you're beautiful every day. But essentially, what she realizes that subconsciously she's been saying these negative things to herself. And she even said that she was like, man, it felt so good to finally get that out. And
Right.
so much so that in our session this week, she was talking about how her husband called her, and this was the first time that she did not answer the phone. And
Nice.
that's a win, right? And I was
Total
just
win.
asking her, like, okay, well, what makes you think that, what gave you the strength this time? And like she said, she's like, I'm coming into acceptance of who I am. And I'm learning how to see me and love me and take my power back and my voice back. So I know that's like a long ramble, but essentially what I want to say is like, you also have to be careful because, you know, people will feed off of your insecurities, or people will feed off of the things that you're not strong in, and because they know that that will keep you around, if that makes sense.
Right. Well, and there's some spiritual teachings that say you draw the person into you to heal whatever needs to be healed.
Mhm.
And then once you
Yeah.
heal it, then if that's all they were in your life for, then they're gone.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So once she
Mhm.
realized that, she's like, I am great. I don't need to answer that phone call from that person who's not so great. Right. I'm out.
Mhm.
I'm done. That's the end of
Yep.
it. Right. In that moment, it's the end of it.
Mhm.
But, we
Mhm.
all have that voice in our head. I mean, Freud talked about it. We all have that negative voice in our head. So
Yeah.
for me, I was a psych major till my senior year and changed to communication. But
Mhm.
for me, we've spent decades, right? Decades talking about why that voice exists. How about
Yeah.
it just does and tell it to
Yeah.
shut the F up, right? You just shut up. I do
Yep.
not need to hear from you. I don't know where
Mhm.
you came from or why you exist, but that
Mhm.
is not true. You need to shut up.
Yep.
I have,
Yep.
I have, C-suite CEOs, right? Or executives that will have that voice in their head. And one time I said, so, how many of your employees would you let talk to you like that? Oh, Didi. I'm like, yeah, right? Like, what is up? Like, you talk to yourself like that,
Right.
but you don't let
Right.
anyone else talk to you that way. So this is not,
Exactly.
that's what the point of that is like, here is this super successful C-suite gentleman, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
It's not just the betrayal woman. Like, we all
Mhm.
have that voice.
We all have it. Yeah.
We all have it. We're so concerned about like where it came from and why it's there. It's like, just stop. It just is.
Mhm.
Let's just tell it to shut up.
Mhm.
I don't hear from you. You
Yeah.
wrong. I'm great. I am me. I can't be anybody but me. This is
Yeah.
just me. All my faults,
Yeah.
every strength, every weakness. This is just me. I can't be anybody but me.
Yep, absolutely. Because it's two things that you just made me think about. One, circling back around to my client, I was telling her, I was like, how can you expect anybody else to love you the way that you deserve to be loved, or that you desire to be loved, when you don't even love yourself that way?
Exactly.
And again, that can show up in, like you said, C-suite, what is it, executives or whatever.
Anybody.
How can you really expect your employees or the people on your team to really respect you when you internally in your mind are not, what I'm saying, feeling like you deserve this spot, or feeling like you're worthy of this spot? So you have to exude that comfort, but that belief. Now, I'm not even gonna say you have to know it for yourself before
Yeah.
you can even expect that treatment from anybody else. Like, it just, what I'm saying, like,
Yeah.
I think we have
Yeah.
to
Well, just
bask in our
accept
greatness.
ourselves, right? Like, there are
Yeah.
things we don't know. There are things that are less of a strength, and there are things that are more of a strength.
Mm-hmm.
Work on the
Mm-hmm.
things that are less of a strength, have them become more of a strength, but be
Yeah.
gentle and compassionate. Like I always say in
Mm-hmm.
CPL, be compassionate. Remember, we're all in process and we're all always learning. There is no there, right? We have it like, oh, now I'm a grown up and I know everything. No, really? No, I
Mhm.
mean, no, we're never done until we're not here anymore, right?
Yeah.
Every
Yeah.
moment, right, is a process and we're always learning.
Mhm.
And so every time you have
Mhm.
one of those ahas, yep, like your client, I am worthy and I am not taking that phone call. That's a win. That's a step up, right?
That's a step up.
That's a queen
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah.
Done. Yeah, like great
Mhm.
things will come into her life now because she's
Exactly.
demanding it.
She's demanding it. And I love what you said too, just about like, quieting those voices, or just being like, man, but it's also like you said too, like, you're like embracing all of it. And one of the most powerful things that was said to me, and I'll be honest, I don't know how some people feel about this, but I have done ayahuasca before. And when I was coming out of ayahuasca, my shaman, she quoted Rihanna's song, and the lyrics of I'm friends with the monster, I'm friend with the voices inside of my head, get along with the monsters up under my bed. And she was
Yep.
telling me that basically what that means is that, talking about for context of the song, Rihanna has embraced all of her. So many times we want to try to suppress the voices in our head or try to suppress the things that are our weaknesses or the monsters, you know what I'm saying? And put those under the bed. But what makes you a powerful human being is to bring all of those together, acknowledge them and accept them, because that is what's going to catapult you. I think that we're losing this sense of authenticity and everybody wants to, evolve, but evolve behind a mask. But you're never going to truly elevate until you're able to bring all of your broken pieces with you and be like, hey, I was cheated on in my marriage. I chose not to, accept that treatment anymore. So I got a divorce. And because of
Exactly.
that, look what has happened to me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gotta love the queen, right?
Gotta love the queen. Okay, Rihanna.
Yeah, because
Um,
what she's saying is that's all of me.
yeah,
I gotta
it's
accept
all
that's
of us.
all of me.
Mm-hmm.
And stop
Mm-hmm.
pretending it's not all of me. You can only
Mm-hmm.
be you. Nobody else can be you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you got what you got, and you don't got what you don't got, and that's it.
You got what you got. You don't got what you don't got. And I want to say too, like, we talk about getting out of character, or how someone may make us get out of character. And a lot of times we're so ashamed and embarrassed. But like we've been talking about this whole episode, give yourself grace, give yourself compassion. You didn't know what you didn't know, but now you know how to move forward and navigate that. And there's nothing to be ashamed about. This is a new territory for you, but now you have information and wisdom on how to navigate these difficult situations and just be okay with where you are, because like you said, Didi, there's no there. We're all every day learning and evolving. So I don't know. How do you want to close it out, or what do you have to
When you
share with?
know better, you do better, right? When you know better, you do better. And the
Yep.
only way you know better is by, going through something, learning
Mm-hmm.
about yourself. And then you know better. And the next time it happens, you'll do better.
Yep. Yes.
Yeah, we
Well,
get
that's
really caught up into like making ourselves wrong and like I'm bad
yeah.
and wrong and I'm terrible. I can't believe I let this happen. I mean, I know all of that stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
be compassionate, stay in process. We're all always learning. That's all there is. Like if you really get like you could apply CPL everywhere, like to your job, to your relationships. There's no there. There's
Mm-hmm.
just here right now, doing the best I can, doing me, being
Mm-hmm.
me, being
Mm-hmm.
gracious, taking no shit, doing no harm, right?
I think that should be our title. I like it. I love it.
It's a
I'm
good
gonna
one.
start using it.
It's a good
Yes, I'm
one. I
gonna
like it
start
a lot.
using it. Yes. Well, you guys, you have heard it. This has been an amazing episode. Do
Love
no
being with
harm.
you, girl. Love being
Take
with
no shit.
everybody.
I know, it's so great. Do you have anything that you want to share with the people before we get out of here?
I want to say love yourself, be compassionate with yourself. If you're looking for communication consulting, find me on BTC on Instagram or find me on LinkedIn under Didi Fisher. I work with everyone. We're all communicating. Nothing's happening outside of communication.
Mhm. And I'll just say, one of my favorite quotes too is like self-love is the best love. So I have a lot, you guys. I don't know if you guys can see my merch is out there. So do not disturb me. I'm on my healing journey with several other shirts. So you can go to my website at www.lifeafterinfidelity.net and get you some merch shirts. And then if you are going to be in the Dallas, Texas area, or you want to fly to the Dallas, Texas area, for a Galentine's event, Dance Through Love. That's going to be February the 10th of 2024. You can also, I'll put a link to the details for the Galentine's event below the podcast episode. But definitely just come out. We're going to be learning how to love on ourselves and love on ourselves through the art of dance. And if you have a loved one or if you're looking for coaching, I am opening up my coaching program again for 10 lucky people. So I'll put the details of that in the description as well. 6-week program. just helping you to turn your pain into power and take your voice back. So I am super excited. You can continue to find us with more dope episodes on the Life After Infidelity podcast. And we will see you, beautiful people, in the next episode.
See you in the new
Bye.
year.